What's good, YouTube? Cardfight King here, Aqua Life Baby. You already know how it is. So got back in the house from locals. Just finished eating dinner. Had some spaghetti, super good. Made some garlic toast. You already know. Um, so I want to give you guys a locals report. For yesterday and today. Um, so getting right into it. Yesterday I went to my regular locals. Hold on, let me go stop this thing. All right, back. So, uh, so yesterday, was at my Saturday locals. Went and played. I played Dark Irregulars yesterday. Um, I went 3-1 with the deck. Ended up in I guess more or less second place. But I guess standings puts me third, though I was in the finals match. I don't know. I guess it was the way tiebreakers went. But so round one, what did I play against round one? I believe it was Nubatama. Yes, I played against Nubatama round one. Didn't really get to see what the deck did. I know Hanzo cleared my board once, whatever it is, but I guess in Dark Irregulars it doesn't really matter too much. I was able to set up hard leg both games, set up the hard leg NLK turn both games. Um, Pressure with Brufus. I was, even though I had to ride NLK first game two, I just had enough to sustain. And then I eventually, I was able to draw into Brufus and then, go in and, sustain, kill my opponent, go into No Life King with hard leg and win the game. So then round two, I played against, what did I play round two? Round two, I believe I played against Royal Paladins, yes. I won that 2-1. Game one, I lost. My opponent had a really good Blaster Blade turn. And then his Gancelot turn, he was able to... he was just able to, hit a crit on every check, and it was doing Force 2. But with Blaster Blade on the rear guard circle, he called out two blades because I guess he wanted to draw cards. And, I couldn't get my setup going before. This is his first grade 3 turn. He was able to just hit, or second grade 3 turn, he just had crits, and I really just couldn't do much to him to stop that. I had to block the Vanguard that had a crit, then Blaster Blade drove check a crit on his turn, and then the other Blaster Blade drove check the heal trigger, and was swinging with was swinging with an extra crit because it's basically kind of like he passed a crit around in the way of from his check. So I really just couldn't deal with all of that. Game two, it really came down to him misguarding. He didn't because it came to the point where I had to move up my Dimension Creeper to the front row, who was at a 13k base because I had a grade 3 in the soul. I called out hard leg, used hard leg skill. I only could afford to use one of the Icicle Girl because then I wouldn't have been at 13 soul, which was the requirement for No Life King to use his ability. So I could only use one. And I think I misplayed on that as well. My side, because I should have used when I used variance hard leg or variance killer tail. I should have soul charged the Dimension Creeper from my damage zone. And then use a Dimension Creeper, so that I could have an extra card in the soul, so I could have used it, so I could have procced it, so I would have been able to actually proc the the Icicle Girl enough times to where he couldn't intercept with Blaster Blades really. But he miscalculated the guard because I swung with a 19k. And because I used variance. I use one to pump hard leg to 19, the other to pump the the other to pump the what's it called, creeper, and I was 23-19. I swung 23 at first. I didn't have enough to swing 19, but he, that I guess that whole turn, I guess he didn't account for, you know, I guess dimension creeper being at 23. So, but then game 3 again. It was another one of those games that came down to the wire. Um, but I was able to get off hard leg on a no life king turn, and was able to secure the game there as well. So overall pretty good. Round three, I played against it was an Excel deck. Let me think. So round 3, I played against Angel Feathers. Actually, um, I won that 2-0 as well. Pretty much. I guess he didn't get to his ideal rise in time, so to speak. And I was able to just sit on Brufus and really pressure him. He also put out a Protect 2 marker, so that allowed me to pop whatever was on Protect 2 with Brufus skill, and gain a little extra power in that regard, also taking out an important intercept. So, yeah, it was overall very solid 2 games. Going against Protect 2 with Brufus. I mean, the whole thing was I can just sit on Brufus the whole game, and then I went into NLK. I did NLK hard leg for the final push. And then round 4, which was the finals, played against Narukami. Against Narukami, I lost that to 1-2. I won the first game. I actually had a lot of good. Opened up really well. Was able to actually get off NLK and hard leg on my second grade 3 turn. So that was pretty good. And I was playing against God, or not Narukami, excuse me. I was playing against God Hand. And then game two and game 3 literally came down to the same way. Like, I had the advantage in the game. I was setting up nicely. I was going in for, I had a kill turn set up for next turn, but, he, had like he didn't have a grit bangle and a front trigger in hand. He just literally just hit whatever was left in his hand out onto the board. Used God Hand's ability, got the triple drive off, got the front trigger, and it was bad because actually that game I gave him a 2 to pass. Basically, it was a front. He had to hit a front and another trigger in order to break my to break the guard I set out, and he ended up hitting double front trigger. And then game 3 came down to the same situation where he called out, like 2 triggers, a grip bangle. He didn't have another one in hand. He didn't have another card in hand to do that. He already had like the grade 1s on board. They give an extra 5k, whatnot. And it just came down to I have 0 hand, and this is my final drive check because I'm going to die next turn. And he hit a front trigger with like his last drive check. So, I mean, there was literally, it was left all up to luck, and I guess I could say I stand by my statement that I think that God Hand is a bad deck. I don't think it's a good deck at all. I think it's just I think it's a super high rolling deck, and you don't need to bring the play. You just need to know how to slap down your cards on the field, and hope to hit triggers. And if you have grip bangle and a front trigger in hand, then you've pretty much secured your win condition. With the way the deck is built. I mean, the deck is honestly just not that good, and it heavily relies on you drive checking them. And if you draw into your front triggers, you're not going to sit there and guard with them. You're going to hope to draw into grip bangle to toss it onto the board. I mean, it's literally, grip bangle front trigger or get lucky drive check front triggers, and slap your hand on the board, kick. If they have kick, and the grade 2 that gets an extra crit when you hit a front trigger, then there's really nothing you can do about it, because now you have something that the front trigger is going to end up giving them 35k plus 40. Depending on how many fusion strikers and the other grade 1 they have on the board out. give that much, and then you have to deal with like a 40-50k 2 crit card twice. And if they have any more out, then you're, instead of looking at taking single points of damage, you're looking at taking 2 point. I mean, it's just ridiculous. It is, I don't know, I just can't see that deck being an actual deck. Like, it just is. I'm gonna do a discussion not on the deck, but on the fact that I feel as if there's worse we're at in standard, and I can see why some people are kind of just like taking a break and blah blah, because it's kind of just like, what decks in the game, benefit the most from hitting a trigger. For me, I think God has a bad deck, but as soon as they hit a front trigger, they go from a deck that's not that good to the best deck in the game, at least for that turn, because they reap so much value off of that trigger. So we'll talk about it. So then today's locals. Getting into it, today's locals, played Spike Brothers today. I want to play Spikes and Dark Irregulars kind of back to back because I just haven't played them in a while, but mostly been playing Aquaforce. Aquaforce has been doing extremely well in tournaments still to this day, even in this format. When undefeated, like 2 weeks in a row with it. It's been outstanding still. Parenthia is actually a decent addition to the deck. Tested it today. Parenthia is a decent addition. But played Spikes today. Round 1, lost to the infamous Black Steve. He was playing his Dark Irregular deck. He sacked me both games badly. His game 1, I couldn't no guard his Vanguard without him drive checking a crit trigger. He, on damage, I could push his damage, but he was able to get a hard leg set up real quick. He opened up really nicely. And then game two just frustrated me because he hit all 4 of his heal triggers on defense and they all went off. He healed from 2 back to 1, from 3 back to 2. He hit a heal on 5, then he hit another heal when he was at 4 dead. I mean, it just all 4 of his heal triggers went off. And anytime I tried to put any damage on him, and really that really set the tone for the game, because that was forcing me not to be able to put as much pressure on him. Then it allowed him to stay in the game without forcing him into a corner. And then he was able to set up hard leg, and he actually, I was able to guard his first hard leg turn well. I went into my next turn, and he ended up hitting another. That's when he hit the heal on 5. And it was like, well, he hit the heal on 5, so he didn't have to take that last point of damage, and then or he could afford to take that last point of damage or whatever it is. And then he ended up just, he was on Brufus, and he dropped another hard leg and whatever the other triggers that were left in his hand, and game from there. Round two today, ended up playing against Narukami. I won that 2-0. Pretty swift. I guess the player hasn't played much, and I don't know, but I played against Narukami enough to know what to do against it. I was able to keep a board out. I guess he didn't have any knowledge of what Spikes did, so I kind of was able to take advantage of that. Round 3, played against Angel Feathers. Won that 1-2-0. Game 1, my opponent was grade stuck, and I was riding into Bull Spike, and yeah. Game two, was a good back and forth game, but ultimately, I actually ended up hitting him with a double critical, pushed him to 5, and from there on, I was able to ride another bull spike, get another 2 force markers, and was able to really just push his hand, because my whole thing with Angel Feathers is I'm gonna they work with the damage zone, but I'm gonna put them at high damage so that they feel it's I want to make them you had the damage zone's another hand, but I want you to be as uncomfortable using it as possible. So that strategy worked out well. And then round 4, I played against Shadow Paladins, I won that 2-0 as well. You know, standard pressure. You know, he did Phantom Blast for me, but I was guarding early. You know, I was able to ride on bad end, and, you know, go bad end, bull spike, kill a column here. I was able to guard the blaster dart column well. He was actually his version of the deck was a little bit different. He was using Force 2 with it, and he kind of converted his deck to where it could use Force 2 and Phantom Blaster, trying to get something out of the Shadow Paladins. But was able to you know, make sure I blocked well, and then Bull Spike you know, put the pressure on him and finish it off, and so end up in second place today. Yeah, so 3-1. 3-1, 2 days in a row with my, you know, my reserve decks. Not too bad. I think next week I'm gonna get back at it with Aquaforce. You know, I know that we got the sneak peek for. I think there's a sneak peek for the next set. I don't know, but if you know, there's a tournament next week, then I will definitely you know, whip out the Aquaforce again and show them, you know, wave clap some people. But yeah, that's it for this video, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. Gonna definitely try and bring you guys more videos. I got my OBS running again, so maybe stream some area this week. Probably gonna test out the new deck, kind of see what I'm looking at. Also, I'm waiting for Bermuda to finish being revealed so that we can get to the actual decks, which is Aquaforce, you know, Shadow Power, Narukami, get to our next set. Cool thing, I don't have to invest in the game till March. Yes. Also, there's this game called Duel Master Plays that's coming out soon. I think Japanese thing. I need to play that. Duel Masters was my first love for card games. If you guys haven't checked out their opening trailer for the mobile game, you got to check it out. It is. I wish they would just turn that into the anime. It's amazing. And the thing is that it's not that, you know, how a mobile game like Duel Links is, you know, you have three zones or whatever it is, and it's halved, and how Vanguard Zero looks like a crapshoot, whatnot. No. This is the full Duel Masters game that you can play on a mobile device. A full version of it. Now, I think they're going to start off with like the first 2 sets of cards and whatnot, but it's the full game, you know, with the mana charging, everything, you know, full field. You got all your 5 shields that you have to bring. I mean, or 6 shields, whatever it is. It's the full game. Duel Masters is coming back. I'm so excited for it. Probably later tonight, I will put the link in the description for, you know, the opening trailer, and definitely check it out. It looks so good. And I can't wait, because I will be on that game. I will sink money into that game. And if Duel Masters ever comes back, and I really hope it does, if there's some way I can get a campaign to get Wizard Coast to bring back Duel Masters, I'm 100% in. No doubt. But this has been the Cardfight King. Aqua Life, baby. You already know. We out.